back. I'm your host, Chad at Broshears, or Sir Chad at Broshears to some. This is the Maturity Project. And I am coming to you by way of my mobile studio. It's a little shaky right now. I'm trying something different. My microphone stopped working, and the last video had too much undesirable feedback in it. In the interim of getting another microphone, looking at what option I want to go with and all that fun stuff, and of course, whatever type it is. Anyway, I'll make the right decision here sometime in the near future. In the interim, I don't want to run the risk of burning a topic by talking about whatever is there and finding out that it didn't record, or didn't record completely without having a lot of that background noise, car noise, whatnot. So, yeah, don't want to be too distracting. And let's see here. So, today the topic is, being courageous enough to write your own story. I put this out on Facebook and that particular topic, which I like to do little samples on social media, as I'm really fascinated by a lot of things and learning and developing and growing and all of that, putting so much effort into it, and truly being present with myself whenever I do, being completely present with me. It's interesting. To say it's fun would have to have a better definition of fun than a categorical concept of it, because it's fun, rewarding, and joyful, but it's stressful, it's challenging, exhausting. There's a lot of ways to frame being in love with growth and development and truly, learning. There's a lot to say about it, but it's a challenge that we have when we speak, because we have way too many assumptions in our language. We feel that we understand what somebody else is saying based off of the common definition. But there's a problem that occurs with common definitions as you really start to drill down into it and you learn more about what specifically is there in communication and the variances and variations of definitions for specific words. Like, as an example, love. Define love. We can all sit there and say, well, everybody knows what love is. You have to have a definition, because if you don't have a definition, it's very hard to communicate what you specifically mean. Just think about, I love my family, I love my partner. Is that equal love? What's the crossover values? Where does the wall stop, if you will, or where does the buck stop in the family member versus where does it continue on with an intimate partner? And what does that mean as far as the definition of love? So you have all of these different, we can sit in a room and completely agree that we all are talking about the same thing, but if we don't get into definition and truly put effort into defining what that is, we find ourselves disappointed or frustrated when somebody else seems to have misunderstood something that was aligned with actions, and the actions were observed first, and the concepts of betrayal or lacking trust or damaging trust or no trust occurs, and then there's where did that seed come from in that particular relationship, and that can come with these specific definitions. So it does not have to be the person truly did you wrong or intended to do wrong. It is the definition of the word that they were functioning in, because our thoughts lead to actions. So align yourself in communication with such powerful purpose that it changes things. And that's my effort on a daily basis, but it's easier said than done, right? But you have to be courageous enough to write that story. And that story is your life. The thing is that most people want to talk about the chapters of their life or the book title, because they're so vague about what their life actually means and what it stands for. What do you want to be known for? What do you want to do? How do you want to change the world? Do you want to change the world? So that's what I mean by be courageous enough to write your own story. It's not by the way, the stories that I don't typically like but everyone seems to love is the ideas of victims and villains, and if you have a villain, you have a victim, typically there's a hero, right? Well, that's a standard archetype of human beings. It stems from communal-based living, because what do you do with a villain in a community is you remove them, or you restrict their access to people because you can narrow it down. A lot of these, movies or books or whatever that have that particular archetype going, is that they have the position of great power or great ability is what is superseding the person that is being victimized. And the hero has the depth of knowledge enough to save the victim and to combat the villain. So that's the basic archetype, right? And then we all get into that. My challenges are that with the lack of maturity, there's a lot more villains. And the story gets to be overly repetitious. It's repetitive. And what I mean by that too is that it's like the same thing. Like, I've watched anime and movies and all of these things, and I look for the details that really give the story, not just what's visually stimulating or what kind of emotion are they wanting me to ride along with the, whatever you're reading, the scenery that's being painted, but I look for the emotion, the intention that the author is trying to convey, and to see if that lines up with, something that's actually giving me more emotional value to give them more credit with their writing, but not enough storyline to give me better understanding of the entirety of the situation that's going on. That's in the reading version, but in the movies, it's the visual stimulation or the overdoing the emotional stuff. But what I mean by that is that it distracts you because it takes you from where you currently are and puts you someplace else, which is the goal of movies, is to do that. But if you watch the same type of movie all the time, it gets to be an old trope. There's not a lot of newness to it. But what we do get is we get to validate the old story of our life, the story that you are forced to live in if you can't be courageous enough to write your own story. So you're stuck in this idea that you have to be, a certain type of person because the people around you have all been puzzle pieced together and adjusted accordingly to fit your persona, because those are the people you call friends, acquaintances, your immediate surroundings, even up to the point of where you work and what's the benefit of the people that you work with, as far as, do you complain about them, do you admire them, do they help pass the time through whatever method, if it's humor or flirting or whatever it is. There's a lot of story around your work relationship, but it's still a story. And some of that stuff, if you're doing it to get away from what's going on in your life that you're not courageous enough to take on and write for yourself, then you're not free-willed whenever you get to work and you're looking at these opportunities to, expand on, or to escape from, actually, is a better term here, to escape from the personal life. Now you're in this, in the same for workaholics and all that. I'm a workaholic, so it's a self-assessment on this, is that it's not the people at work that I want to flirt with or just joke around with. I get a great degree of pleasure from working and from making progress and getting better at my job and creating more. That's a huge value for me that associates itself with my work ethic. And then from the outside looking in, if you don't have the same work ethic with the clarity about my vision and why I do it, then it looks like I'm a workaholic and could be categorized as a negative, versus understanding the motion and the motives of why I'm doing it. So as we go on, write your own story and be courageous enough to do so. I have not been courageous enough to write my own story for a lot of my life. Now, I've written my own chapters and then got plagiarized, if you will, or not plagiarized, that's the wrong term here, because I didn't steal somebody else's writing. I was co-authored with other people, but the author was not in complete agreement with me. But my level of agreement with them was weaker, but yet I was cowardly enough to agree to the terms that they wanted me to live by, and not to stand up for who I am and to truly maintain that person. And that's not easy to do because of all kinds of reasons, right? When you get emotionally involved with somebody, you don't want to lose whatever that emotional involvement rewards you by. If it's the awareness of yourself, it gives you confidence, it gives you, nourishment and love, or whatever it is that relationship gives you, sexual satisfaction, whatever validation in any area of your life that you're looking for, that you're after, I get it, you know, if we have these attachments and those emotional experiences, and why we will willingly trade our self-expression and who we are in a courageous position for that thing, whatever the emotions are rewarding you by. The thing is that we fall victim to, and this is the craziest part of it, is that when somebody falls in love with you and not the idea of you, they fall in love with who you are. And then there's the little things that they do love, by the way, they have to, because they fell in love with you. But they don't have to love them to the fullest extent of other attributes. They just have this thing about you that helps give the flavor to who you are. It could be something that absolutely annoys them. My past experience with a partner from my history is that she would say, when I would say certain things, is I'd pinball. Like I'd cause her to pinball. It's like a pinball machine. Her eyes are bouncing around, rolling around the back of her head. Now that was a statement, but that actually it was annoying to her, but yet it was endearing to her. It was something that she enjoyed, and we would joke about it because the annoyance gave that flavor to more of my personality and who she is to me and how that whole thing worked. Pinball. That was what came out of it. So we have so many things that hinder our ability to fully express ourselves because we have a payoff that we're attached to. That payoff can become something that seems like an addiction because of, I need this person in my life and I'm willing to do X, Y, and Z and to live for that. That's addictive. To an extent, right? You're willing to exchange something that actually could be better for you or keep you in a better position or more balanced or whatever, and you're willing to exchange that for whatever it is that person has that seems to be the affirming aspect or whatever the trait is or the experience is. So, all right, I've said a lot, and the intention is just to get us to the point that it's just open your eyes a little bit, expand the horizon, see things from a different perspective. I'm not saying this is completely right. This is my life's journey, and this is the things that have helped me balance out to the person that I am now. And I'm not perfect. I'm not perfection by any means. I'm not even close to that. I'm just a guy that wants to make a difference and to live a fulfilled life, and it's opportunities to be fully courageous and to say who you are. And if there's a perceived consequence of it, then allow that to be like real, and then deal with whatever those consequences are. So yeah, be courageous enough to write your own story. All right, well, that's it for today. Again, I am your host, Chad Everett Broshears, or Sir Chad Everett Broshears to some, if you know you know. This is the Maturity Project. Today's conversation is just, man, it's going to take something. And what courage is think about it. The depth of courage gets to the point of, if you know a gun is shooting, right, there's bullets flying overhead, just in a military situation. And even though you know that there's a good chance if you stand up, those bullets are going to hit you, you still stand up and you go after whatever it is that you need to go after to try to save the people in your life or to save yourself. But you got to step forward and do it. It's scary as hell, and it can feel like that level of courage at times, where you need to be so drastically pushed to be true to yourself that it feels similar to as you can conceive it. If you've never been through it, it's really, I don't want to do a disservice to the people that have been through it, but to be in a situation like that, the best you could perceive it is it takes an enormous amount of effort and or willingness to sacrifice who you were to be who you are becoming. Oh, all right. Till next time. Share this video with those in your life that you feel could learn from it, or that you could start a conversation with. It's just a different insights. Hopefully, it does crack through something that's had you struggling or challenged, and it inspires you to take some steps. Put some comments in the comment section. Let me know how that's coming along or what you want to take on. And again, share the video with somebody you want to break the ice with. Start a conversation. Don't care what I have to play, whatever role I have to play in order for that conversation to start. Just break the ice. Okay. All right. Till next time, we got a world to work on, but we really got to work on ourselves. And really, this is the effort, what it takes to make yourself whole. We're already whole, but this is how you mature yourself to your fuller potential. All right. Till next time. See ya.